Have you ever leaned in close and caught a strange smell coming from your ear? It's not something we talk about, but earwax, that sticky, golden, sometimes flaky substance can carry a scent. Sometimes it's mild, barely noticeable. Other times it's strong, almost sweet, or sour, or even sharp, like old metal. But why? What makes earwax smell different from person to person? And what is your body trying to tell you when it does? Tonight, while we slowly clean one of the thickest wax buildups we've ever seen, I'll tell you everything science and history has uncovered about ear wax odor. From ancient beliefs about sick wax and spiritual toxins to modern discoveries about infection, diet, and even genetics. You're about to find out why your ears might smell the way they do, and what it could mean for your health. Let's begin. Asterisk, asterisk. Let's start with something most people don't know. Earwax is not just wax, it's a mixture. A strange little cocktail your body makes, quietly, deep inside the skin of your ear canal. Technically, it's called cerumen, and it's made of shed skin cells, secretions from glands, fatty acids, cholesterol, and trace amounts of sweat and oil. The body produces it to protect, to trap dirt, to stop bacteria, to coat the ear canal with a soft, sticky barrier that keeps the outside world out. But because it comes from you, your biology, your diet, your genetics, it carries your signature, including your scent. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Your earwax type is genetic. Most people fall into one of two categories: wet type, soft, golden, or brown; sticky, dry type, grayish, flaky, crumbly. If you're of East Asian descent, you're more likely to have dry wax. If you're from European, African, or South Asian backgrounds, you probably have wet wax. But that difference goes deeper than texture. It affects smell. Wet wax tends to carry more volatile compounds, especially lipids and acids that break down over time, releasing scent. Dry wax, much less odor, so if your earwax has a strong smell, you're likely a wet wax producer, and that's perfectly normal. Still, not all smells are equal. Let's break them down. If your ear wax smells sweet, like honey or caramel, that could be a sign of higher sugar metabolism, especially after certain foods. It's not dangerous, just your body's chemistry doing its thing. If it smells sour or vinegary, you may have mild bacterial activity in the outer ear. This doesn't always mean infection. Sometimes it's just your natural bacteria doing cleanup. But if it smells sharp, like ammonia or metal, your body might be producing more acidic sweat, especially if you've been under stress, eating lots of protein, or not hydrating enough. Now, if you notice a foul or cheesy smell, something truly unpleasant, it could point to infection, especially if the wax is discolored, greenish, or white, excessively moist, mixed with flakes of skin or pus, or if there's discomfort, itching, or discharge. In that case, you may be dealing with something like otitis externa, an infection of the outer ear canal, sometimes called swimmer's ear. That's when a trip to the doctor, not a home remedy, is the right move. But let's go back in time for a moment, because ancient healers noticed these smells too, and they had their own theories. In ancient Egypt, sour-smelling earwax was thought to mean a troubled spirit. They believed certain smells were signs that negative energy had built up in the body. In medieval Europe, wax that smelled like meat was considered a warning sign, a clue that something rotten had taken hold inside. Some monks kept wax samples in glass jars, comparing smell and color over weeks to monitor a patient's condition. They may not have had modern labs, but they were paying attention, because even then, people understood. Scent reveals what the eyes can't see, and when it comes from your ears, it might be telling a very specific story. Asterisk, asterisk, let's continue. Because earwax isn't just about protection. It's a reflection of what's happening inside you. And sometimes, it's a warning sign if your earwax has a strong, rotting odor and it's accompanied by pain, swelling, or discharge. You may be dealing with a bacterial or fungal infection. These conditions create volatile sulfur compounds, the same gases that make rotten eggs or spoiled meat smell the way they do. Doctors can diagnose these conditions quickly, but long ago, people had to rely on their senses. In ancient medicine, physicians often smelled the ear directly before deciding on a treatment. In some cultures, wax was tasted just a tiny amount to detect acidity or bitterness as a sign of imbalance. Odd. Yes, but in the absence of microscopes. This was clinical instinct. In Ayurvedic medicine, foul-smelling wax was seen as a sign of pitta imbalance, a heat condition, too much internal fire. They'd recommend cooling oils like coconut infused with jasmine or neem, dropped gently into the ear each night before sleep. In Persian medicine, sweet-smelling wax was thought to signal an excess of phlegm, while sharp-smelling wax meant black bile, the most feared of the four humors. Treatment: not just herbs, but fasting, meditation, and ritual bathing of the ears in milk and saffron. Even today, these practices survive in pockets of the world because they weren't just about the ear. They were about purification. Smell was a diagnosis, and the ear was the doorway. Now let's come back to the present and talk about something surprising. Your diet changes how your ear wax smells when you eat lots of red meat, spicy foods, or sulfur-rich vegetables like broccoli and garlic. Your sweat glands, including those in the ears, begin releasing more odorous compounds. This can lead to a stronger, acidic wax scent. People on ketogenic or high-protein diets may notice a metallic wax smell caused by the breakdown of ketones and ammonia. If you're dehydrated, your wax may become thicker and smell staler, simply because it's not being flushed or moved properly. Even caffeine and alcohol, especially in large amounts, can dry out the wax and increase odor. Hormones also play a role. Increased testosterone levels can lead to more active apocrine glands, the ones that produce earwax and sweat. So, during puberty, stress, or hormonal shifts, you might notice your wax is not only heavier, but also sharper in scent. And that brings us to one of the biggest factors: stress. When you're anxious or overwhelmed, your body releases cortisol, which changes your entire chemistry. More sweat, more oil, more waste excretion, including through your ears. The result: wax that may smell stronger, sharper, or simply different. It's your body's way of letting go, of pushing stress out, of saying something's off. And the more you listen, literally, the more you begin to understand the signals. Even your environment matters. People living in dry climates tend to have drier wax with less odor. People in humid areas, which allows bacteria to grow and produce scent. Those who wear earbuds for long hours may trap heat and moisture in the canal, again boosting bacteria and wax odor. And then there's hygiene. Over-cleaning the ears can backfire. Cotton swabs push wax deeper, removing protective layers and allowing foreign particles to stay longer, which increases the chance of infection and smell. That's why gentle methods like oil, softening, or professional cleaning remain the safest approach. Asterisk, asterisk, let's finish our journey by stepping back and looking at this in a different way. Because in many cultures, the smell of your body, whether from your breath, your skin, or your ears, wasn't just seen as physical. It was symbolic. A strong odor was a message, a sign that something within needed attention, not just physically, but emotionally, or even spiritually. In ancient Tibet, monks believed that the body whispered its imbalances through subtle signs. The smell of wax was one of those signs, especially if it appeared suddenly, without obvious cause. In native traditions, certain ear odors were thought to be linked to dreams. An aromatic scent meant a peaceful soul. A core, metallic one, was a call to reset your thoughts your diet, your space. And then there were the healers of medieval India, who believed that earwax scent could predict emotional trauma, to bitter, unresolved grief, to sweet, repressed desire. No scent at all, a lack of expression, a voice. It may sound poetic, but it's not far from how modern science sees the body, as an ecosystem, constantly responding to mood, diet, sleep, stress, and environment. What comes out of you is shaped by everything that's happening inside of you, including wax. Now, here's one last strange story. In 19th century France, some doctors believed that wax scent could reveal personality. They claimed artists had fruity-smelling wax, warriors sour, philosophers musky. Of course, no science backed this up, but it tells us something. Humans have always looked for clues in the smallest, strangest places. And the ear, that quiet little tunnel beside our head, has always been a mystery worth listening to. So, as we close out this session, and your ears feel lighter, cleaner, clearer, take a moment to reflect. That strange scent you noticed. It might be nothing, or it might be a sign to hydrate, to rest, to let go of the headphones for a bit. Or maybe it's just your body reminding you that even the smallest parts of you are alive, changing, and worth paying attention to.